All right, ladies and gentlemen, last night we had a wonderful classic and the game between Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich. It was a nine-goal thriller. Nine-goal thriller. I was watching the game. It was like every 5 minutes there was a goal. So on the average, so every 10 minutes of that game there was a goal. Every 10 minutes of the 90 there was a goal. It was a fantastic game to the watchers, and it was a wonderful game, full of goals, classic display, and all that. But I was really, really disappointed. I'm so disappointed with Bayern Munich, especially. I was disappointed with Bayern Munich, the best team in the world, according to the ranking right now, the best team in the world, conceding 5 goals in a match as big as the first leg of the Champions League. This is a game in the group stage that Bayern Munich won. They won 2 goals to 1, despite the red card that Luis Diaz got. They won that game 2 goals to 1. And here they are losing by 5 goals to 4. I was really, really disappointed with Bayern Munich. A team that big cannot be losing game in such manner. 5 goals conceded in the first leg of the Champions League game. But I was most disappointed with Paris Saint-Germain. You can't score 5 goals and leading your opponent by 5-2, and you now capitulated, conceded 2 more goals. Yes, Bayern Munich has the firepower, and you consider 2 more goals. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's almost bet over for PSG. I didn't watch the Champions League final between PSG and Inter Milan last year. I didn't watch the game, the game which they won 5 goals to nothing. It was really disappointing. It was really disappointing on the part of Inter Milan. The final of the Champions League ending by 5 goals to nothing. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace. And as far as I'm concerned, if Bayern or PSG, by virtue of getting to the final, plays this way, the way they played last night against Arsenal or Atletico Madrid, they won't win the Champions League. They won't. They won't win the Champions League. Defense wins you a game. You can't be leaking a defense like that and I expect you to win the Champions League. If they play the way they did yesterday against either Atletico Madrid or against Arsenal in the final, they will not be champions of Europe. They will not be champions of Europe. So that's it, by the way. People enjoy the game. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't expect to see that number of goals. I expected to see the classic. I expected to see the defense holding their own in that game, but they didn't. They disappointed some of us. But I know some persons were really elated. They enjoyed the game as such because the goals were flying in and all that. But today, those goals are not going to fly in. Atletico Madrid and Arsenal are not going to concede 5 goals and 4 goals in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final at the Metropolitano Stadium. It's not going to happen. Arsenal is not going to chip in 4 goals. Atletico Madrid is not going to chip in 4 goals or 5 goals, as the case may be. It's going to be a very tight affair. It's going to be very, very tight. I see maybe a 1 goal variation, a 1 goal game, either a 1-0, or a 2-1, or a 3-2, or even a draw. That's what I see in the game today. So kudos to them. They were able to hold on to that slender goal difference by winning 5-4. So they will go to Bayern Munich Stadium next week, Wednesday, for the return leg. Atletico Madrid will be hosting Arsenal in the first leg of the semi-final game by 8 a.m. at the Metropolitano Stadium. So it's going to be another classic, but it's not going to be filled with goals, just like we saw last night. Any of that gets to the finals will have it all to do against PSG or Bayern Munich. But trust me, if any of those two teams play the way they played last night against any of these two playing today, they won't be the champions. Any of these two will carry the day. Trust me. See you in the next video. Bye.